Hey everyone, Cherie here. Today I'm going to create a traveller's notebook spread using some fun new stamps from Kerri Bradford Studio. I've got two of the new sets that were released this month here to use. This one is called Florida, and even though I'm in Australia, there are still lots of stamps on this stamp set that I can use here. I live in Queensland in Australia, and we are actually referred to as a Sunshine State, which is one of the phrases here in this set. So this set I know I'm going to get a lot of use from. I love these palm trees. I'm going to use one of those on my spread today. And I've also picked out the phrase that says head to the beach, enjoy the waves. But I also love that there's this sunrise here. There's more palm trees down the bottom. I love that there's two sizes of palm tree at the top there as well. There's so many phrases like give me all the tasty things, good food satisfies the soul, now that's a sunrise, where the palm trees sway, for miles and miles, beautiful sunset, shades of blue, I was made for sunny days. So many phrases and stamps that I can use from this set. So that's one of the sets I'm going to use. I've also got the Block of Years stamp set. Up in the top corner there's this one that says life is good, so I'm going to use that one today. I've also got two of the sets that were released last month. This one's called Me and You. I'm going to use this Me and You, and this ampersand here, as my title. And there's also a phrase here that says here with you. So I've got those ones picked out from that set. And then I've got this cool borderline set as well. I'm thinking I'll use this one here to go across the bottom of my spread. And I do have one of the older sets as well here called P&W, and the little icon here I'm going to use, I think, too. So I've got that one there. I've got the Ulta New Olive ink pad here that I think I'm going to use for my palm tree, and I've also got a large full-size photo for one of my page backgrounds and a smaller photo here printed. My journaling is also printed, so I think I'm ready to make a start on this, so I'll pop you on to fast forward. Okay, so to start off with, I'm going to do some stamping onto some plain white cardstock. I'm starting off with the borderline stamp and that olive green ink. And I will stamp this a couple of times so that I can use the best image that turns out. And both of these turn out really well. And even though I do only have that small size in this ink cube, it still worked really well on this long stamp. Alright, so moving on to some phrases now, and I'm using black ink for these ones. This phrase says, head to the beach, enjoy the waves, and that's from the Florida stamp set. Next up, I've got the little geotag stamp from the P&W stamp set, and that stamps up perfectly first go. Really happy with that one. Then I've got the ampersand stamp from the Me and You stamp set, and this is going to form part of my title. I'm going to cut this one out and adhere it with foam dots on the page. I wasn't happy with the first couple of times of how it's stamped up. There was some little fibers sort of hanging off the edge. So you'll see in a moment, I do end up having to grab a wipe and give the stamp a good clean before I stamp it up a couple more times. And I'm also doing the Life is Good stamp from the Block of Years stamp set. So now I can go ahead and cut each of these out to use on the Traveller's Notebook spread. So first up, I've got the Borderlines stamp, which is going across the bottom. I've basically cut it in half to use across the bottom of each of these pages, just adhering these strips on with some double-sided tape, so sticking it on and trimming it down to size. Okay, just trim off that excess piece there. Okay, so next up I've got these two little pieces to add to the top of the photo. So the little geotag stamp is adhered with a foam dot just to add a little bit of dimension, and then I've got that phrase underneath, and that's all that page needs because it's that large photo. So the other pieces are going onto the first page on that white background. I just remembered that I'd forgotten to stamp up one of the other phrases I wanted to use, and that was the one that says here with you, and that's from the Me and You stamp set. So I'm just going to quickly do that onto some more scrap white cardstock, and then I can cut that one out and I can play around with the placement of everything on this page. I do want to stamp two pieces of my title directly onto the background. So that's why I've got everything on the page to make sure my spacing is right before I go ahead and do that. So I'm going to do the Me, You stamp at the top there, just next to where I've got that ampersand. So making sure I've got lots of ink there, move those other bits out of the way, and that is now on the page. I would have liked that a little bit darker, but I'm happy with that. I'm just going to go with it. Next up, I've got the palm tree stamp. Absolutely love this from the Florida stamp set. And I'm going to layer that on top of these two words. It's going to be coming out from under the words there. And my ampersand is going to layer on top of those. And I'm really happy with how that turned out. My photo is going to go underneath that title there. So that's centered in the middle there as best I can. Then I've got my journaling, which I just printed out using my computer. That's going to go underneath the photo. So I'm doing that now. And I do have the Life is Good and the Here with You to go underneath. The Life is Good, I've got some foam dots underneath. I don't want to stick that down yet because I do want to go and add some stitching onto those other pieces. So I don't want that interfering with the sewing machine. So I'll leave that off, go ahead and grab my sewing machine and add that stitching to the page first. And then I'll be able to add the Life is Good piece back on underneath there. So that's going onto the page now, just making sure that's nice and straight. And then all I need to do is add the date right down the bottom there. So just making sure I've got the correct date on that stamp because I am going directly onto the page. So that can go on there now. So I can give you a close look at how each of these pages has turned out. You can see all the little details. Really happy with that. And I'm loving these new stamps. So please let me know if you have any questions. I'll leave a link to Kerri Bradford Studio down below as well. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you again soon with another project. Enjoy the rest of your day.